everyone, it's Maki. In the Gundam Seed series, nuclear technology plays an important role. The neutron jammer, a technology directly connected to nuclear power, is one of the reasons mobile suits were developed. Later in the story, a technology known as the neutron jammer Cal-re appears. The importance of nuclear power is often implied in the dialogue spoken by the characters. Today, let's take a closer look at Frey Ulster and Walter D. Lament words. Frey is a character who appeared in the first series, Seed. Lament appeared in the third installment, Freedom, as the chairman of the Plant Supreme Council. This time, we will base our analysis on the perspective of Hiroyuki Yoshino, the scenario writer who helped create the Cosmic Era world. As one of the key figures who shaped Cosmic Era's history, he discussed many of its settings in the official reference book, Mechanican World. By examining the history he created, we can gain a deeper understanding of nuclear technology and the coordinators in the Seed universe. If you'd like, please consider supporting my channel by joining the 99-cent monthly membership. As a thank you, you'll receive a name badge and exclusive comment stamps. Now, let's begin the analysis. Do you remember the words Frey Ulster spoke? They were discriminatory words directed toward coordinators, like Lost Klein. She described coordinators as people who adjust their genes even when they are not sick. Coordinators are individuals whose genes have been modified, giving them enhanced appearance and abilities. They have abilities beyond traditional humanity, including higher performance and resistance to disease. So, how were coordinators originally created? Were they researchers driven by the idea of creating a superior form of humanity? Surprisingly, that was not the case. The technology that gave birth to coordinators was founded on the goodwill of humanity. Before the Cosmic Era began, humanity had already fought a devastating war near the end of the Common Era. Programs such as the depletion of oil resources and environmental pollution had pushed humanity into a desperate situation. People did not choose cooperation. Division deepened due to exclusionary economic policies. This became the cause of war. This conflict would later be known as the Third World War or the Reconstruction War. The nuclear weapons used in the war's final stage would later be called the last nuclear weapons. The shock of these weapons drove humanity to fully devote itself to ending the war. Only after reaching an irreversible state did people finally recognize their mistakes. This became the trigger that led to the birth of coordinators. You may have wondered how the last nuclear weapons became the catalyst for the creation of the coordinators. Strictly speaking, it wasn't just the last nuclear weapons. All the weapons used during the war ultimately accelerated the creation of coordinators. Nuclear weapons cause unpredictable damage to the natural environment, living organisms, and genetic structures through radiation. During the Third World War, humanity was attacked by weapons created through highly advanced science and technology. In Mr. Yoshino's history, this period is described as the age of terrorism storms. Terrorism involving biological weapons and radioactive materials struck humanity. As a result, many people suffered fatal genetic damage. In particular, the damage to cells responsible for reproductive function was severe. It was said that 20% of humanity could no longer produce healthy future generations. Genetic science saved humanity from this crisis. A method was developed to prevent damaged genes from being passed on to the next generation. This technology selects undamaged portions of parent genes, combines them, and implants them into fertilized eggs. This remarkable technology was born as a means of saving people whose genes had been damaged. Thanks to this technology, humanity was able to avoid a catastrophic fate. This technology gradually evolved to take on different purposes. Initially, it was used to eliminate factors that cause hereditary diseases, remove predispositions to illnesses such as cancer, and prevent conditions like hypertension and obesity. Eventually, the technology advanced to the point where desired traits could be given to children before birth. This is how coordinators came into existence. According to free people who adjusted their genes even though they were not sick, originate from this history. Now, let us briefly turn our attention to Patrick Zar. In the story, he states that the situation in which coordinators cannot produce the next generation will inevitably be solved through technological progress. This belief was likely based on the precedent of humanity once being saved from genetic destruction. Later, coordinators faced difficulty having children due to genetic alteration. This situation closely resembles when 20% of humanity struggled to reproduce as a result of the Third World War. Some may interpret Patrick's words as wishful thinking. However, his statement was supported by real historical precedent. That precedent was the technology that created the coordinators. Deep within his heart, he may have carried the pride that they symbolized humanity overcoming hardship. This belief may have led him to trust that the challenges before them could be overcome as well. In this light, his words can be seen as a belief in the potential of the future. Athran, who rejected Urano's ideology and seed destiny, and fought to protect humanity's future, may have inherited Patrick Zar's compassion. Now, let's start analyzing Chairman Lament's words. In the story, nuclear weapons are ultimately used. In response, Lament declares that this act is a betrayal against all humanity. Nuclear weapons contaminate the environment. This is a fundamental element not only of the cosmic era world, but also of many other Gundam series settings. However, the situation is far more serious in the cosmic era. As Lament said, it truly is a betrayal against all humanity. If you have followed the discussion up to this point, you have probably already realized why. Nuclear weapons have caused severe genetic damage to countless human beings. The consequences were so grave that they nearly led to the extinction of humanity. Using nuclear weapons on Earth is not just a conflict between nations, it is a forbidden act worthy of being called a betrayal against all humanity. Lament's statement expresses this historical reality exactly. How will the world change after the events of Seed Freedom? The occult, who called themselves a new humanity, were exposed by Killer and his allies as perpetrators of genocide. Everyone in the occult lost their lives in the story. However, the world has now learned that technology capable of creating humans more advanced than coordinators exists. At the same time, history records that this new humanity betrayed the old humanity. This reality could very well cause new conflicts in the future. Considering these facts, imagining the future of the cosmic era becomes an interesting experience. Thank you very much for watching until the end. I'll see you again in the next program.